like 7 inches from the midday sun. I hear you whisper and the words melt everyone, but you stay so cool. My Marquita, my Spanish Harlem Mona Lisa. You're my reason for reason, and a step in my groove. And if you said this life ain't good enough, I would give my word to lift you up. I could change my life to better suit your mood, because you're so smooth. And it's just like the ocean under the moon. It's the same as the emotion that I get from you. You got the kind of loving that can be so smooth. Yeah, give me your heart, make it real, or else forget about it. Yeah. And I'll tell you one thing. If you leave it, be a crying shame. In every breath, in every word, I hear your name and it's calling me out. When out from the barrio, you hear my rhythm on your radio. You feel the turning of the world, and it's so soft and slow, but it's turning you around and around. And if you said this life ain't good enough, I would give my word to lift you up. I could change my life to better suit your mood. And it's like the ocean under the moon. It's the same as the emotion that I get from you. You got the kind of loving that can be so smooth. Yeah, give me your heart, make it real. Let's forget about it. Oh, Sammy! What the fuck is that? You sly dog. And it's just like the ocean under the moon. It's the same as the emotion that I get from you. You got the kind of loving that can be so smooth. Yeah, give me your heart, make it real, or else forget about it. Yeah, I won't forget about it. No. Let's forget about it. I won't forget about it. Give me your heart, make it real. I won't forget about it. Yeah. I won't forget about it. Yeah. I won't forget about it. I'll be here. Let's don't forget about it. I'll be here. I'll be here. Give me your heart, make it real, or else forget about it. This just happened.
Now you know Rob from 3 a.m. and Unwell, but he made quite the name for himself when he collaborated with the legendary Carlos Santana for the colossal hit Smooth. Before we sit down, I need to tune up to match this guitar god's epic solos. I got some work to do. 1, 2, yeah. Hey! To be a homecoming like no other. But first, let's sit down with Rob and see what makes this guy tick. Rob, how are you? Thanks for doing this.
Always good to see you.
Are you comfortable with fame? I mean, how are, like some famous guys tell me they hate it. Some people say, I love it, I live for it, and the guys that are on 24/7. What's your...
I feel like I have a good level of fame. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, if you know who I am, I'm famous to you. You know, I've been around, you know, adjacent to crazy fame, and it's a little daunting. Like, you know, like I'm kind of, you know, like I can't imagine like a Justin Bieber world. You know what I mean? Like we're like you can't go out of your house. You know, like I go grocery shopping myself. You know, and like I'll be cruising down, you know, the groceries, and then like Smooth or something will come on, and just people will be passing me in the house like and I'm like yep, and then it's like see you later, you know. But I'll literally have people come up and be like, they're like, oh my God, I'm such a fan. I'm like, thank you, and they're like, I love the Goo Goo Dolls.
Sorry, folks. That's not going to get edited. We're keeping that.
Yeah, no, that happens more than once.
Get out of here.
More than once, yeah.
So, what's the difference between like Rob Thomas and Matchbox 20 or Rob Thomas solo? I mean, because you're doing a solo tour now. Are you any different? Are you the same guy with a different band?
I think it's just the aesthetic. You know what I mean? Because like, for me, writing is a full-time job. I'm writing if I'm on the road, I'm writing when I'm home, I'm just always writing until another project comes up. So by the time you make a record, I've probably written like 3 or 4 records. I mean, they're not good, but they're, you know, but you go through that whole process, and then if it's Matchbox, I go, okay, this is what I've got, and everybody kind of pulls in what they've got, and it's more of a group decision. Whereas when it's solo, it's just, I kind of use me, my producer, my wife, you know, and like my inner circle to figure out what those songs are. But I don't write for one thing or the other.
So when Smooth, how'd that song come about? I mean, why didn't someone ask me to do that? That's what I guess basically is what
I wasn't supposed to sing on it. I was just going to be the writer on it. Like I'd just gotten off the road with Matchbox. We'd had that first record, which took us out for like 3 years because we kept finding new plateaus on it.
Yeah,
and so we got really lucky with that record. And so after 3 years, I'd like, my wife and I moved in downtown, like in Soho in the city, New York. Was just taking some time off, and I thought it was going to be my first gig where I didn't sing. I wanted to write for some other people. And so this guy, Ital Schur, who lived a block away from me, was working on a track. And so I just came in and wrote the lyric and the melody. And I think that just because my voice was on the demo, that kept getting passed around, and they kept trying to figure out like who was going to sing it. And one day Carlos was just like, well, does this guy sing? You know, and they were like, yeah, he's in a band. And Carlos was like, well, I believe him. Let's just have him do it, you know. And because of that, I got a chance to write with Willie Nelson. I got a chance to work with Mick Jagger. Basically, if you had an AARP card, I was your man that you were going to call in. I was going to come in.
Well, you didn't write with me yet. Hold on.
You didn't ask.
You owe me one, Rob. Well,
you didn't ask. Now. Did you know I spent every day of my youth, every day after high school, coming home and watching Live Without a Net? Like literally, that was our ritual every day.
Wow.
Straight home from school, a bunch of us just pile in and we'd just turn it on and we'd watch it over and over and over until the tape broke.
I'm honored, man. Well, that's great. I didn't really realize that. I love hearing that stuff. I really do. Who do you just think is just, man, this guy or this gal or this person has just...
Willie Nelson.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Willie Nelson, without a doubt. He
85 is still doing it to start with.
I mean, yeah, amazing and sharp as a tack. You know what I mean? Like if you ever sit and have a conversation with him.
I interviewed him on my show.
I mean, he's just an amazing guy. I got to spend a couple days with him. I remember I asked him. I said, well, you know, let me ask you. You've been married like 5, 6 times. It's like, why do you get married every time? And he said, well, Rob, I loved every one of them. And I said, well, what about the one that tied you to the bed and set you on fire? And he's like, oh, I loved her the most.
I like when he said, there's been a lot of things said about me, and most of them are true. He's such a good guy.
I went to dinner with
a guy to look up to.
He's an admirable guy, a great career. I think a true troubadour, right? Like he does things. He's always kind of done it for the right reason.
Yeah.
But you see him now. My wife's like, "Oh, he's so cute," and I'm like, "He's not cute, man. Like he was a drinking, fucking, fighting, powerhouse outlaw."
That's a rebel.
You know
right
what I mean?
there.
Yeah. I mean that guy,
brother's a
like
real
he had the
cowboy.
finger up through his entire life. You know what I mean? Just like this, and no matter where he was bucking the system.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, he's been a rebel his whole life. Written some of the greatest songs. I mean, that's something else you probably look up to him for.
Sure. I mean, I think it's amazing when you have these storied guys like that are kind of grizzled, but they're telling these beautiful stories in these beautiful melodies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think you see that when Bruce. Like when Bruce has that. When you see him, he's just this rock, but you listen to like the lyrics are delicate and the subject matter is very personal.
One of my favorite artists. Like.
Did you catch that Broadway?
Yeah, I saw it on TV. I didn't catch it in New York.
Amazing.
I live on the West Coast.
That was amazing. Yeah, see, that's what you put up a little snow, but
I understand. But yeah, I sent him a note, a video, because I have the same tour manager.
Yeah.
We share a tour manager. I sent a video, a selfie to him, telling him how inspiring it was to see that
amazing
freaking show. It was like unbelievable.
I watched it with my son, which I think is a really great thing, because when he gets into talking about fathers and sons and his his relationship, it was and my son's a musician. He's going to Berklee College of Music right now. Like that was I think a real moment. I got to go see it with a friend, like one of my dear friends, on like the second night to the end. Like it was almost over, and he was moved to tears. Bruce was in certain moments, and I talked to him about it, and he said it's not like that every night. Because it's a script, because it has to be a script to be nominated in case it wanted to be a Tony or not. So he had a set script, and some nights he said he just feels it more than others.
Absolutely, don't we all?
Yeah, of course. That's a hard thing. When somebody says, "What's your favorite song?" It depends on the night. Like like sometimes there's a different medicine for whatever the ails are.
One of the guys I interviewed on Rock and Roll Road Trip said the weirdest thing about performing live. He goes, yeah, it's different every time. He goes, depends on like what you ate that day. Sometimes I'm going, well, man, I don't see that, but
yeah, right?
I'm not that sensitive.
I mean, it is true that you can fart on stage and nobody knows it, but other than that, I'm not sure.
So, who's Rob Thomas going to be in 5 years from now? I mean, I know you can't see the future, but what would you like to be? What are you seeing for yourself next year? I don't know, what?
More of the same.
Yeah, is there anything you really want that you haven't done?
I'm not goal oriented. Do you know what I mean? Like I want to stay in the game.
You're a kite without a string on it.
I want to be. I really am. I want to be sitting here talking to you, saying that I just finished my favorite record I've ever made.
Oh man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want to see what's happening with Matchbox. I think we're getting together next year, just to tour. I think because if we're in the same room, then maybe we'll write something. But we don't want to just put something together to go out. We don't want to do something just to have it out. And at the same time, I'm still working. I've already started my new record. I've got.
You need to rub some of that work ethic off on
I don't
me,
know.
man.
I don't know if they're any good though. I mean, that's again. I'm still I'm in that early phase where I'm loving everything, but.
Yeah, you were saying that your songwriting, when you write a song, that you always feel like it's your last. You light it,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. As soon as you do it, you're just like, well, that's a magic. That'll never happen again.
Yeah.
Or what happens the other way too. Sometimes you feel like the god of creation. You finish a song and you're like, oh my god. But then you listen to somebody else's song and you're just like, oh, that's really good. Oh, I hate that.
Is there anybody that you would you ever sit and think, God, I wish I would have known that person, or boy, I'd really love to get to know that person and sit down and. Is there somebody you really look up to like that? Or?
Like I think I would have loved to have kind of gleaned a little bit off of Sam Cooke. I think that would have been, you know what I mean?
Smoothest voice in the
smoothest voice ever. So much, you think about, you hear the optimism in some of those songs, and you realize what it was like to be Sam Cooke at that time and what he was going through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like the burdens that he carried for all the future generations that were going to come through, but the way that he did it with such style and grace, kind of like a Nat King Cole in a way. Like I've always been fascinated by the Sam Cooke story.
What would you ask Sam if you're sitting there next to you?
You got any songs?
And he'd go, how about this one?
Yeah, right?
How about this one?
Hey,
Well, you could always just get to know Steve Perry.
I do. Steve's a good man.
I know he
yeah.
is. He sings a lot like. And,
My first question I ever asked him, I was like, "You're a big Sam Cooke fan, aren't you?" He's
yeah,
like, "Oh
you
yeah,
bet
man."
He is.
Yeah.
You bet he is.
Yeah.
He's got that smoothness, you know, and crazy. And Neil Schoen told me they're born on the same day.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm an old hippie, kind of astrological nut.
Right on.
So, but yeah, it's born on the same day as Sam Cooke.
Oh, that's so funny.
Coincidence or whatever you want to call it. Okay, I have one silly little thing here we do. Don't get scared to pull something out of my pocket.
As long as it's your back pocket.
Out of the back. Oh, you're funny, Rob. Okay, it's called This or That, and now you can't like go wishy-washy.
Right,
I mean,
no.
it's pretty simple stuff.
Definitive
if
shit.
you can't answer this, you know I'll be disappointed.
All right.
Band or solo?
Solo band.
I knew you'd.
That's right. You hit me right off the bat.
He's too tricky.
The guys are going to see this. Band. Of
they
course,
are.
it's the band.
There you go. There's a smart man, Okay, but I know what you really mean. Okay. East Coast or West Coast?
East Coast.
Oh, of course. Boom. Yeah. Snow or sun. Wait a minute. No,
I'm a snow guy. I was just having this image, by the way, that I don't think anybody could ever imagine. Is like I was thinking about it. I was imagining Sammy Hagar in a winter parka.
No,
like it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't go together.
The Doughboy band, the stack of old used tires, you know. Touring or the studio?
Touring.
Wow. Okay. Don't get scared here. Carlos or Clapton?
Carlos.
Woo! Boom. Who's going to play smooth better
to be
tonight,
fair,
Sammy Hagar or Carlos Santana?
Oh, Sammy Hagar, without a doubt.
There you go.
I love you, Carlos. That's not even fair, though, man. I mean, Carlos is like my brother.
Nah, yeah, you're a good man, Rob. Really, really. Thanks for that interview. I can't wait to.
No, thank you for coming on. I'm glad that this could work out, like right here in your hometown.
Yeah, I get to see my sisters and my nieces and nephews and all that stuff all at the same time.
You're welcome.